Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Dr. Felicia J. Lindsay, founder of AGR Book Club. Welcome to Deliciously Lit, the podcast where adventure, books, and cuisine collide. If this is your first time to our channel, or if you've been here before, say hello. I'm back. D Lit. Now, pour yourself a glass of your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready for some deliciously lit fun. I'm Dr. Felicia J. Lindsay with Deliciously Lit today, and basically, I am talking to Dr. Tanisha Richmond of Richmond Foot and Ankle Clinic, a longtime friend and a fellow author. And we want to talk about her book and all her accomplishments, and let's figure out this road to success. Now, your book is The Weight of Success.
Yes.
How did you even get into this anthology? Look at her, the way to success. How did you even get into it?
I knew a local author that I had followed, and actually she invited me to be part of the book. She just invited me to be one of the authors in the book with her on the anthology.
Now, what made you even want to be a part of it, contribute to the body of work? What made
Um,
you?
I just wanted to be an author. It's such something I wanted to do. I still want to write my actual autobiography. I just have to sit down and do it or get me a ghostwriter to help me write it. It's just a time issue.
Yes, I think a ghostwriter would be excellent because you don't have the time. You're running a full-time practice. Now,
Yes,
a little bit about you. You did go to school at Talladega College,
yes.
right? Now, tell me a little bit about that. Was it an HBCU? What kind of school was it?
Talladega is a HBCU in Talladega, Alabama, home of the Talladega 500
All right, all right.
in the woods of Alabama. I think when I went there, it was like 1,300 students. I was a biology major, so our class size might have been 20. So I remember I got sick as a freshman with my asthma and missed class. They called my mom in Louisiana. So yeah, it was a very close knit community of professors, and they really kept an eye on you.
Well, being a part of that community, being able to be in this anthology and tell people about what you're doing and your path to success, it just basically paint a positive light for HBCUs to have more people that's contributing once they get out. Now, I have another question. When you wrote the name or came up with the name, Feet Don't Fail Me Now, for your portion of the book, where did you come up with that? Feet don't fail me now.
Uh, well, it's our journey. We've been on a journey being physicians. That's a lifelong journey. And you do need your feet. You need everything not to fail you. I mean, I equate going to medical school as a marathon. It wasn't a sprint.
Yeah.
A lot of people were intelligent, but they couldn't run a marathon. They were only sprinters. So it's just it's just a long term learning process, living process, and it just took a lot of dedication. So that's why I say feet don't fail me now. We were running for 6 years.
Right. A little bit of background. Basically, you had to have that 4-year degree, got your
Yes,
bachelor's of science, and then you went to podiatry school, which is
yes,
another 4-year school. And then you did a 3-year residency. So, no, feet don't fail me. You got to keep moving through that.
yes, yes, yes,
Now, with all that in place, you had to have an awesome work ethic.
yes.
Where or who do you contribute your work ethic to?
My parents, my grandparents. I'm a I'm third generation educated. My both of my grandmothers were elementary school teachers. My grandfather was a mortician, and he owned his own funeral home as well as about 100 rental properties. So I grew up around him and watching him run his business. And I used to always think he was mean, but now I'm worse in my own business. And I understood watching him, what it took to have a successful business and to be a success in life, period. You're always working, you do rest, but your business is your child, it's your baby. So you have to nurture it and maintain it and not neglect it. And then my father's military. So I was raised under a military father and traveled the world, but he implemented military tactics in us because
Mhm.
we're very methodical. We followed the same method, the same patterns every day. Even my boyfriend noticed all of our houses are designed the same, organized the same. But we were raised by a military father, and to this day we're never a late group of people, we're always on time or early. So it was just how we were raised. So I think all of that played a part to it. Then my mother's a nurse, so it all played a part in this. It just kept being implemented and reiterated over and over again throughout my childhood and adulthood. So I guess I didn't know anything else,
Did you
honestly.
always love science, or were you someone that got into the medical field because you wanted to help?
No, I was a nerd from day one. I like science. When I was a little girl, I didn't want baby dolls. I want chemistry sets, microscopes. I wanted to blow up stuff. I was collecting rocks. I remember when I lived in Germany, I was a little girl. I was in the woods collecting snails and bugs, and I wanted to go to museums and play with stuff. I always liked science. I always liked to read. In every Halloween, I was always a doctor. I would
Uh-huh.
take my mom's stethoscope and her lab coat, and that's what I was every Halloween. So I always wanted to be a doctor. I just didn't know what kind, but
Mhm.
since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor.
Now, do you feel that all your travels contributed to your success? Did it contribute to how you correspond with people now?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm multicultural, so I've lived all over the world. I've lived in probably 10 to 15 different states and cultures,
Mhm.
parts of the country. So living in Ohio is not hard for me because I'm like a chameleon. You can drop me anywhere on earth and I'll adapt. And that's from my childhood. So I think it was, as a child, I found it unsettling, but as an adult, I appreciate my exposure to so many different cultures and languages and lifestyles. So, and then also being a Southerner, I bring a different twist coming to the North because, you're a Southerner,
Oh yeah.
the differences, the way we roll versus Northerners and the way we approach things. Like right now, I'm making up Christmas baskets for every patient's going to walk out of here with some kind of Christmas gift. And they would never think to do nothing like that. But I realize my patients pay my bills. They pay our bills. And we need to take care of our patients and make sure they have a good Christmas because they're helping me to have a good Christmas.
That's right.
So it's just a different approach. I guess my healthcare is different because also I'm a diabetic myself. I was diagnosed in medical school, second semester. So
Mhm.
my entire journey of being in healthcare, I've been a diabetic. So that's a different aspect of it. So we have different kind of conversations than other doctors could have. We have very realistic, blunt conversations because they can't BS me with their stories of how they can't control their sugars. And I can control mine. Why can't you control yours? And we
Yes.
have honest conversations about that.
Now, firsthand, I know that starting a practice is not a sprint, it is a marathon, and it's very hard.
Yes.
How do you feel what you have went through and has contributed to your success of your practice and the success of being able to start your own podcast?
Well, I would have to say you have to surround yourself with successful people. And only successful people. You can't listen to Boo Boo and Bebe for advice. You have to listen to millionaires and people you aspire to be.
Mhm.
So I've been part of practice management since I was in residency, going to their conferences. I was part of the practice management group, top practices. I'm still part of another practice management group.
Mhm.
Um, but you have to be around the best, and then you have to reach their level. And basically, they give you the blueprint. You
Yeah.
just have to follow it. And a lot of people aren't willing to follow it. Like, just like I said, I've given every patient a gift. A lot of
Uh-huh.
people aren't going to do that. They don't think it's worth it, but they don't understand that that gift may cost me 50 cents a patient, but that may make me a couple $1,000 because that patient's going to tell everybody they know that their foot doctor gave them a Christmas present.
That's
And
true.
that's marketing in itself. But a lot of people don't think like that. They don't think, oh, let me do something. And so that's what I've learned is you have to listen and follow the best. Like I'm reading books from Elon Musk book list, Bill Gates book list, Amazon's book list. I need to go back and read Apple's biography, the founder of Apple, because if you want to be the best, you have to learn from the best.
That's true. Now, my next question is, I saw in the chapter that you contributed that you talked about marketing, that you talked about budgeting and investing in personal development. You kind of hit on that when you were talking about your book list and reading all the books from Amazon and Elon Musk. What are other things that people need to look at when starting a business?
It's a lot. I say one of my pastors would always say, "The Lord gonna bless you with a business." I said, "He need to bless you with an accountant, an attorney. You need to take, if you can, get an MBA or at least take some accounting classes, management classes, learning human resource do's and don'ts with that kind of thing. It's all encompassing. I think in most cities, probably all have SBA locations, small business administration locations, where
Mhm.
you can go as a small business. And they have all kind of funding for individual training. Like when I first started, they gave me a free accountant who came in and looked at my books and talked
That
to
is
me
awesome.
and fussed at me. She's still a friend, but I mean, but the SBA paid for all that, and then we had free workshops. In our SBA, we even have incubators for small businesses where they can pay decreased rent and have little mini offices. So it's like reaching out to organizations like that. And then, of course, I'm a double minority. So getting like your MBE certification, Minority Business Enterprise certification with the city and state and federal, that will allow you to be exposed to even more things, more programs, more funding. So, but I would say for people just starting out is to reach out to your local SBA chapter in your town and go in and talk to them and see what's available. Because these people have huge budgets and they're just sitting there most of the time. And there's a lot of money there that they can help you with, especially if you're a minority, you can even get more help. So that's where I would start. And then like going on Facebook and joining small business organization, places like Alignable. That's an awesome site. I've watched a couple webinars, but they have like daily webinars
Yes, they
on
do.
different things, small businesses, women businesses. I mean, they have all kind of webinars and YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube is you can get a degree off of YouTube.
YouTube University.
So, so it's out there, but I would start with SBA, looking at Facebook, joining some groups and joining up with Alignable, joining groups, going watching a lot of their webinars and maybe trying to reach out to local entrepreneurs and
Yeah.
see if they were willing to mentor you and
Mhm.
help you. Because lots of times if you don't ask, you don't know because you don't know what that person may want to do or not do or can do for you. You just have to ask.
And then you can also ask them, is there anything that you can help them do? You
Yeah,
never know. They might have something they need you to do, and you're basically helping each other.
yeah, yeah.
Now, to take a different tone, the podcast, Rich Feet Podcast. How did that become a brainchild? When did you come up with this idea? And what is your mission for the podcast?
Well, what had happened was 10 years ago, I got invited to be a guest on a radio show, WDAO, here in Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a co-guest, and then I stayed on with him maybe a year or two, and something happened. They fell out, and then the radio show became just mine, Footsteps to Life. And I always wanted a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Valerie Coleman, who actually wrote this book,
Mm-hmm.
connected me with a gentleman who produces podcasts. So actually, I interviewed with him, and he suggested what he had let me know that he can manage podcasts for me. So
Mm-hmm.
then that's how I created Rich Feet Podcast. It's a recording of every radio show that I do once a month live here in Dayton, Ohio at a radio station, WDAO. So that's how it came about. I just wanted everything to be taped so people could go back and listen at their own leisure because it's a lot of information. I'm on the radio for an hour. I have awesome guests like you. People look forward to you coming in, talking about the different books of the month, all the different people, types of experts. Of course, I talk about feet, but I try to integrate other specialties and topics to make it interesting. But that's the main reason why I created it, because I wanted it to be recorded and preserved. So someone's just bored, they can sit and listen to me talk about feet.
But like you said, you have all other disciplines on there. So they learn about everything. It's
Yeah,
an all-encompassing show.
yeah.
Now, I look at everything that I went through. I know you've looked at everything that you've went through. What can you say to get to the amount of success that you've reached that you had to sacrifice?
Everything, everything. Well, I wouldn't say not
How would
having.
you explain that to the how could you explain that to the youth or explain that to someone who's aspiring to get to where you are? How do you explain you're gonna have to sacrifice everything?
Well, I call my practice Richie. She's 14. She's a when she's a teenager
Oh,
now.
she's
She
a
got an attitude.
teen.
She's a spoiled brat. She gets whatever she wants. And I built her from an infant, from zero. I think I'm up to like 14,000 patients.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
so it's sacrificing everything. I mean, you know, you give it everything. You don't walk away. You walk away, but it's still on your mind. Like on the weekends,
Mhm.
if I'm in the store, I'm still shopping for stuff for the office. You know, I may see something, oh, I need that sticky notes. I need some staples. I need some paper. I need some ink. Or just like, when I get off with you, I'm got to go make up these Christmas bags for the patients. And we're making customized stockings and hats to give to the patients. So it never ends. Even when you're on vacation, you still think about your business.
Yes.
You step away, but it's still in the back of your mind. Okay, when I get back, I need to do this. Or you may see something on your vacation. Ooh, that's a good idea
Yeah.
for my business. That's something maybe I should try. But you have to keep growing your business. You have to keep learning your business. Like I did go for an MBA a couple years ago, and that was the best thing I ever could have done because I had to understand business.
Hmm.
Uh, Medical school doesn't teach us the business side. They teach us the clinical side, but they don't teach us how to run a day-to-day business and all the intricacies of running a business and being successful in business and not feeling guilty about making income and profit and enjoying the the fruits of your labor. So, that's a whole evolution in itself. But I would say I sacrificed it all. I mean, I'm 1,000 miles away from my family because I was given an opportunity that I did not turn down.
That's true.
And I have to fly in now to see my family and my parents and brothers and sisters, but it's a sacrifice I make because I have a successful business here. So it's just, I think they have to truly understand that you may work and pay your employees and not pay yourself.
That's true.
That you can go work every day and be broke. You're not going to make the money you want to make overnight. You have to grind.
Yes.
I'm at 14 years in. I'm comfortable now, but that's 14 years in. I wasn't comfortable when I first started. I was struggling.
Yes.
So, but I think they have to understand you have to crawl, then you can walk, and then you can run. But that is the process. You don't jump. You don't jump.
Well,
You have to go through the stages of evolving in your business.
I think the biggest thing that you have given people in this section of the anthology is you're telling them about marketing, budgeting, you're telling them to invest in themselves, you're telling them to get an attorney, you're telling them about the sacrifices that they will have to make. If you really want to learn how to get your business up and going, how to start your practice or start a business in general, you need to grab that book. Put it up again, Dr. Richmond. You need to grab that book, The Weight of Success. Don't forget to read that section. Feet don't fail me now.
Okay.
Dr. Richmond, I want to thank you for sharing with us today and taking time out of your busy schedule with all your patients.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being a part of Deliciously Lit. But since we are a show that talk about food and literature, you do have to give us your favorite dish and pair it with something delicious to drink. Let me know. I'm listening.
I guess it would be the eggplant casserole that Mr. Norman cooked for me for Thanksgiving. It's a fried eggplant, and you layer that with Alfredo and cheese with
Oh, wow.
shrimp,
Crab meat.
shrimp, and you layer that and bake it.
Well, you got to tell him he needs to bake that for us, not just you. Now, you're in Dayton, right? Dayton, Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to tell me an excellent restaurant there, a dish, and a good bottle of wine. Me and you both love wine. Tell me about
Well, I would think Carver's
it. Uh-huh.
and a nice Cabernet with lamb chops. They have the best lamb chops in the city.
Well, if you go out to Dayton, you already got Dr. Richmond's recommendation. You need to find Carver's.
Yep.
Well, it was good having you on the show, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Okay.
All right. You have a good one.
All right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
You have just listened to another episode of Deliciously Lit podcast with your host, Dr. Felicia J. Lindsay. Connect with us at bookclubpublishing.com. Don't forget to get the app, join the Facebook group, subscribe, and write us a review. See you at the next episode.